Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald in Mount Sterling on Main Street. Mount Sterling is a good example of one of our smaller communities in central Illinois has found a way to take older buildings, restore them, repurpose them, and breathe new life into the community. And we're looking at two examples right here, Hegel, 1891, and Dorothy's, which are now, one's now a grocery store and one's now a popular restaurant. These old buildings, Gene Buckley, were in any other day and age and in any other town might have been torn down to make way for God knows what. But the people of Mount Sterling thought it was important to save these buildings and revitalize the community, and that's what we're looking at.
Right, that's exactly right. So just a little bit about how it started, Mark, if I could just give you a little bit of a background of it. So it really started from well,
you have a lot of traffic in Mount Sterling, which is a good thing.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we
thing.
want. But it really started with the heart and soul of, I would say, our heart, the Tracy family's heart, as well as the community. It really takes both of us. And you know, for some time ago, I'd say, you know, for many years, you know, community members would come to us and say, "Oh my goodness, Gene, you know, the uptown area is just not as vibrant as it used to be. It's like it's starting to deteriorate like so many small towns, you know, in rural Illinois." And so they're like, you know, can't you do something? You know, well, you have this, you know, chatter and stuff like that, but then you think, okay, so really to come up with a plan, what are we going to do? So, and I would tell you too, before we started developing this plan, you know, I can tell you, you know, from a family's perspective, I mean, we love Mount Sterling. We kids, mom and dad raised us here. It was a wonderful community. It was a vibe. It was a very vibrant community. You know, we had a movie theater, we had a roller skating rink, we had shops and that kind of stuff, and we want that back for everybody. So what we did is when we heard that people wanted to revitalize it is we really pulled together a bunch of key stakeholders and we said, all right, we're thinking about doing this long-range development plan, but we want to know if you really, does the community really have an appetite for this? And so the answer,
you're holding the master plan right now. If you would just sort of page through it so we'll get an idea of how extensive it is. This starts in 2010.
Yes,
and runs through 2016 and beyond, doesn't it?
Yes. The conversation started, I should show you some pictures. The conversation started in 2010, but the plan, there's a phase and priority plan, so it goes, you can see, through 2023, and you know, and hopefully the work will continue way beyond that because this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. But we certainly have some sketch renderings to really.
Here, let me hold one up for you because this is a good one. This shows what a festival on Capitol,
correct,
looking at the courthouse, and this is sort of like what you hope happens like all summer long, I guess, right?
All year long.
All year long.
Yes. We have several different sketch renderings of Main Street and you know what we're hoping that the community is going to look like at some point in time. So anyway, got the stakeholders together. They said yes. We put them in charge. All right, let's interview 3 different firms, you know, to come up with a plan, and selected a plan, and boom, we're off and running.
Today we're focusing on Hegel, 1891. This restaurant opened about 2 years ago. It used to be an old hardware store, right?
Correct.
And I assume it's 1891 because that's when the original building was built.
Right, that's exactly right.
But what we're going to do is, this is an interesting program because we've got the chef now that's in there.
Yeah.
We've got your sister who did the interior design. We've got the architect here who can tell us about the challenges of bringing an old building like this up to code and useful.
That's exactly right.
And it's going to be very interesting to see how the history of 1891 became Hegel 1891, which is one of the new draws in Mount Sterling.
Right, yeah. It's really exciting, and it certainly has been a draw to Mount Sterling. And one of the visions of the Tracy Family Foundation is for Mount Sterling, Brown County, to be a community where people want to live and grow old and raise their kids and get educated. And you know, to do that, it takes lots of different things for that to happen. One of the things is a wonderful place like a Hegel 1891.
Absolutely, you got to have a meeting place.
Absolutely. So it's really been, we're just thrilled, and I think the community's.
Can we go in?
We sure
Let's
can.
Go. Careful, there might be a loud truck coming.
Oh, shall we run?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, here we go.
Well, hello, Susan.
Hi, Mark.
This is Hegel 1891.
Yes, welcome to Hegel 1891.
Susan Stammer, John, thank you. We were just talking to your sister.
Yes.
She was telling us about the overall view, the overall goals of the development of Mount Sterling, the economic development, and how far y'all have come. And we wanted to focus on this restaurant Hegel 1891 because it's a success story in itself. It's been open for 2 years, and it's just gorgeous. And you had a lot to do with making it gorgeous, didn't you?
I had a lot of help, but yeah, this is one of my passions: restoring old buildings and making them what they used to be.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's Monday, and you're closed on Monday.
We're
if
closed
people are
on
wondering why
Monday.
there's nobody in here, but we
Right.
chose a Monday because we'd be in the way. We would just be in the way.
Our lunches are very busy, and this is lunchtime, so it would
Yeah.
be filled with people for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you first saw this place, this was an empty hardware store that had been vacant for a long time.
Right. The
And when you
Rang
saw
family
it,
ran it as a hardware store.
Did you look at it and say, oh, what are we trying to take on here?
Yes, because when I saw it, the floors, after we had purchased the building, Dot Foods had, the floors were dirt floors.
Is that right?
Yes, and many of the things I remember as a child when I walked in, which we would come in, we actually came in that door over there when it was a hardware store. Those things were not here anymore. And so that was upsetting, and I was just obsessed with how can we make this the way I remember it. And so that was kind of, we had a committee, and we talked about what we would like this to look like. And everyone wanted it to look like maybe it should have looked, you know.
It's nice because it's wide open. You know, you got the high ceilings,
Right.
and you've got the exposed ductwork. You got the exposed brick here, you know, with the same old
Right.
brick. Now I know that took a lot of work.
It did.
Because you probably had to tuck point and clean
Right.
and everything, but it's lovely. And then you had to use your imagination too, because there wasn't a fireplace here, was
No,
there?
there wasn't a fireplace, but we were intent on bringing that warmth in the winter too, so that you could feel a cozy destination restaurant
So you
for people
built
to look
that,
forward to coming to.
And,
Yes.
and that's a gas fireplace, so you turn it on and off when you want to. This is interesting. This it's not paneling, but this chair,
the old beadboard
Thank you,
was
beadboard.
taken out of. So we worked with a designer named Annie Smith with Eurotrash Design, and she
Eurotrash.
Eurotrash.
I love that.
Yeah. So she and her partners were able to salvage many things that you see, and that's what they do. They before old structures are torn down.
Yeah.
They salvage everything that is salvageable, and so that came from who knows where.
Right.
But it was old, and it's the look we were after.
Yeah.
And the same with the floors.
I do want to talk about the floors a little bit because, like you said, the old floor couldn't be saved,
Right.
and it was just dirt underneath. So you had a process of having to go ahead and fill this and then put a concrete platform under it, and now you've got like these old plank floors, which really do. I mean, you can tell they're really old. They've been a lot of people treading on these.
I love them. I love these floors.
And in your tables too, I guess they're made out of old wood.
They
aren't
are. A gentleman by the name of Phil Black made those for us.
Boy, they're
and
nice.
he made them specifically the size that we needed them. We wanted to provide all types of seating here. We can push all these tables together for big groups. We wanted to provide a nice intimate spot for a special gathering or just if someone's eating alone. We wanted privacy areas, and then we wanted big celebrations for families.
One of your passions was to have as much history in this building as you could. So you yourself went down to the Brown County Historical Society and you picked out the photos, didn't you?
Yes, so we worked with the Brown County Historical Society and a lady by the name of Margaret Scranton, and she was great. My mom and I actually visited the Historical Society, and we ran across a picture, which I'll show you when we get around the corner.
Okay.
And that was kind of the inspiration behind it. I realized the history that it's in an old depot at the fairgrounds. That was in there, and it was amazing. And they were willing to loan us some items, let us get some duplications made of a lot of these photos, and then to frame them and hang them up so that everyone could enjoy them. Many people didn't know what was out there, and so we have it up here to display.
And when you say the old depot, I think we're looking at
Yes.
it right here. And there is a very interesting history museum attached to that old depot.
Inside of it,
And they built onto it. So that's a really a fascinating visit for anybody when it comes to Mount Sterling. That's a
So,
good place
like
to go.
all of these photos are from the Brown County area.
Now let's go over here. You mentioned that big picture that you wanted to show us, and this is all Mount Sterling history stuff
Right,
here.
even old trophies from people donated to the Historical
Yeah,
Society.
fascinating. Now, is that your dad, Mr. Tracy, up there with the
Yes.
cage? Okay. And he's the one that founded Dot Foods?
Yes, and Dot Foods owns this restaurant.
Owns this restaurant, yeah. And that was him in his younger days when he
Yeah,
was...
I had to give a nod to Dad
when
up
he
there.
was just probably driving... Was he driving his pickup
He
truck
was
then?
getting ready to make a sales call, I believe. Yeah, one of his first,
He made
probably.
a lot of
He
them,
looked
didn't
very
he?
young. Yes, he did.
And this is the picture above the bar.
Right. So this was taken on Easter Sunday, 1915, and the church had an Easter service, and it was more of a service for all denominations or all, and the townspeople that were there. And it's written that 614 people were in that photo.
And then if you look as we look at that photo, just to the left of the church then, that's the block where we are in, where we're standing in
correct.
now, Hegel 1891. And where that church was, I guess, is where Dorothy's grocery store is now.
Dorothy's Market is.
Dorothy's Market, okay.
Yes.
And that was a new build made to look old.
That's right. Connected to us.
Yeah.
And then Dot has offices above Dorothy's Market. Yeah.
And so in here, what you've done is you've actually sort of put this barrier between the bar and the restaurant.
Well,
so
we
that
did
you've got
this. We did this as
privacy
an
in there.
afterthought because we realized there are all type of diners here, and people who want to have a nice, quiet dinner or a meeting, per se in the booths. And so we wanted a little privacy because then we have the TVs. You can watch your favorite sports team. We have live music once a week on the weekends, and we do that over there. So that way it fits a multitude of uses, and everybody's happy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. This is it's a gorgeous space, and it sure beats tearing down old buildings.
Oh,
doesn't it?
I know. I hate to see that happen. So this is just, I think, a great addition to the uptown region of Mount Sterling, and we want everyone to come visit us.
Yeah. Well, they certainly should. Thank you. And
Yes.
like I said, you're closed on Mondays.
Yes,
but the
closed
rest of the
on
days are
Monday and
good.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
we're open for lunch and dinner, and we love it here. Yeah.
Thank you.
And Andrew, which you're going to talk to next, has
Chef Andrew.
He is
yep.
Chef Andrew, and he's amazing. His food is delicious.
He's going to create something for us, and he has said that his specialty is Italian, so we're going to go for
really
it.
good. You're in
you.
for a treat.
Okay. Andrew Duell, you're the chef here at Hegel 1891, and you got your master's in Italian cooking, right?
That's correct.
So when I asked you to do a specialty for us, to show us how to do a specialty, you chose something Italian, and I'm glad you did. Because who doesn't like Italian, right?
I don't know anybody.
You've been here for a year, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so you're making tortellini for us.
That's
and it's
right.
going to be topped with scallops? Is that
Yeah,
right?
it's one of our specialty dishes. It's seared scallop with shrimp tortellini. It's tomato bacon butter sauce, charred broccolini, and sunchoke chips.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, start us at the beginning. What do you do? How do you make a?
Okay, well, our pasta dough recipe is very simple. It's just egg yolks and flour, and that's what this is. And we just take it down in our pasta roller so we get to the right thickness to make the tortellini. So you go down one step each time. You start it off by doing a fold over. This breaks down the fibers and makes a lot softer pasta.
Okay.
And once you get that folded over once, you get down a few layers. I'll spare you and just get to almost rolled out pasta. But like my tortellini with really thin, delicate pasta, it really improves the texture. So you can almost see through
look
this.
how thin that is. You can almost see through it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. I guess the thinner it is, the easier it is to make the pasta too, isn't it, by hand?
You bet it is, but you can really feel it in your mouth. A nice, delicate, thin pasta, it's a lot more appealing than some thicker dough. So now that we have our pasta down, we skip to the next step, which is cutting it and forming it. If you could help me, Lexi, by cutting the pasta.
Okay.
Aaron, will we grab my filling?
We'll watch her. Oh, she has a disc that she cuts it with, huh? Okay. Now, is each one of those little circles, each one of those is going to be an individual tortellini?
That's correct. The first part, it actually looks like a ravioli because we just add the filling and then fold it over. And then once you have that step done, it's just making a pinch and rolling it over to make the tortellini shape.
Here? What's in
This is our shrimp tortellini filling. So there's shrimp, there's lobster bisque, there's homemade ricotta, there's some zucchini and mushrooms.
And what's she doing there? What's it?
That's our egg wash that helps seal the pasta. So it's just a little bit of egg yolk and some water.
And each one of these is individually handmade.
That's correct.
And that's what she's doing now.
Yep, it's a labor of passion.
No, I'll bet. And you have to make hundreds of these if you're going to have a special. Well, it's on the menu, right? So I mean,
that's right.
You're going to have to be prepared to make hundreds of these in a night.
Oh, absolutely.
Or thousands, maybe if you're busy.
Yep. Well, we choose a day of the week that's not too busy, and we make all our pasta and get it in the freezer so that. This being a fresh pasta, it's being egg yolk, it will oxidize. So we make them all in one day. We get them in the freezer, so we're ready to go for the rest of the week.
Okay. Now, how does that little half moon become one of these over here?
I'm going to show you that right now.
Okay.
So you make a collar. You push up to make a big belly. You fold the flaps over, and you pinch it closed.
Wow. That's beautiful. It's a work of art. It's a little work of art. And when we're going to come back and see you later in the program, we're going to boil this, right?
We're going to boil it, and I'm going to show you the completed dish.
Okay, and then you're going to saute the scallops and everything, and you're going to plop it all together, and it's going to be beautiful, right?
That's right. I'll show you how it looks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve Wavering, the company Culinary Architecture out of Quincy,
That's correct.
helped on this project. And I don't know how many of these kind of restoration jobs you all do, but this must have been a handful because this had been neglected for a long time, hadn't it?
It was pretty much a shell when we got here, and there was a lot of deterioration that was present in the building. So we were pretty well starting from scratch in that sense.
There was a little bit of it you could save.
Absolutely.
And mostly it's low down here. The actual supporting the building was in pretty good shape, wasn't it?
Yeah, the front facade of the building was in pretty good shape. We have two cast iron columns on each entrance here, and as well as the cast iron tread. And those were actually cast out of Quincy, Illinois.
Is that right?
There was a company, Smith Hill Foundry in Quincy, and those came from at Quincy.
Yeah. And they add character because it makes it look original. It makes the whole building look original, even though it can't be, of course.
And that was one of the things. This building's on the National Register of Historic Places, and that was one of the things that the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency, they were involved, and they wanted to keep the front facade as well as the rear facade of the building pretty much intact. And the remainder of the interior we could do, we have a little bit more leeway in the interior, but the front facade, as well as these columns and the cornices up above, keeping those in place.
It's wonderful that you could keep the cornices because those are wood, right? And they will rot away pretty easily.
Well, they're actually pressed tin.
Oh, good.
And
good.
so we were able to reuse some of them and recreate some of the others.
Now we've seen the bottom floor. Will you take us up to the upper floor and we can see what happened up there?
Sure.
After you, sir. Well, Steve, this is now a banquet area, but when you first saw it, it didn't look like this, did it?
No, it really didn't. The roof above us was in very poor shape. Actually, there was some holes in there, and leaked pretty bad in that. So there was a fair amount of rework above us on the roof, and then also these brick walls. These brick walls are original. And but up above the ceiling in here, they were very deteriorated and had to be totally redone.
Yeah, and then these pillars that we're looking at down the center of the floor. These were here, right?
These are all original columns.
Yeah, so they were supporting. It was supported.
Yep.
But the roof, of course, was rotted out, and And then once you're up there, you have a lot of other work to do up there too, don't you? To bring, because you got modern code you're talking about.
That's right. That was the real challenge here, is to take an older building and bring it up to code today. So we have fire suppression, fire sprinklers above this ceiling that you're seeing here that brings this part, in that sense, up to code.
And we have a good picture here that shows what you were dealing with. Half the ceiling is gone. You had to tear it out, and the room is completely empty. And when you look at it then, and you look at it now, you can see that what a transformation.
And we were dealing with other codes too. From there's an energy code that we tried to bring into play. So behind this wainscoting that you see there, there's insulation behind there, that we were making sure that we were compliant with the energy code.
Wow, what a terrific job. Congrats to you and all those other firms that you worked with to make this happen. Very nice.
It was a collaborative effort here. There's no doubt about it.
Chef Andrew, when we left you, we had just seen you create those little tortellinis, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so now the next thing in the process is to boil those tortellinis, make your sauce, cook your scallops, and throw it all together, right?
That's right.
Well, let's get started. I love it.
Well, here's some of our jumbo sea scallops. Get them into a pretty hot pan.
Pretty hot, yeah.
Yep, that's hot. Now this is our pan for the pasta sauce, garlic, herb oil, and cognac.
Woo!
So the cognac really brings out the flavor in our...
oh, do you smell that garlic? Oh,
yep.
man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now these are our tortellini from earlier. They go right into our pasta water.
Okay. Is that boiling?
That is boiling.
Okay.
Now we want to cook out all the alcohol in the cognac. So once the flame is down, then it's ready to go. We're going to add a little bit of stock and some butter.
Stock and butter. Okay.
And that's all we need there for the shrimp tortellini.
Still cooking away that alcohol, huh?
Well, now I'm going to make a sauce. As the butter melts, it kind of thickens the sauce. Just make sure I get the scallops right at the right moment. I throw them in the oven. Finish cooking. It only takes about a minute. And I'd say I'm there.
Okay. That oven real hot?
That oven's at 500 degrees, so I'd say so.
Okay.
Now our tortellini are coming out.
Those were in over only like a minute, huh?
Well, that's the beauty about fresh pasta. It cooks so quick.
Wow.
Those all facing up.
You turn them, okay. And those had shrimp and other delights.
Oh yeah,
in there.
shrimp, homemade ricotta, mushrooms, zucchini, and lobster bisque. So these are ready to go. Check my scallops.
Okay.
Oh, yep.
Woo, baby. Look at those.
Now we'll get everything on the plate.
I'm following you.
So this is my tomato bacon butter sauce. Arrange the pasta nicely.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
That's ready, Lexi. A little bit of the sauce over the tortellini.
Lovely. Oh my goodness. What is this beautiful creation called?
Scallops, seared scallops with shrimp tortellini.
Oh, good.
And now my garnish is these sunchoke chips.
And those are chips of what?
Sunchoke. Sunchoke's a root vegetable.
Oh.
It's very sweet, but it adds a little bit of texture to the dish. And there it is.
That's gorgeous. That is just gorgeous. Now, let's go down the road here and just see a little bit about what else you have prepared for us.
These are all items from our current menu. Our brick half chicken.
Oh, man.
This is a bacon wrapped shrimp appetizer. This is a double fried buffalo chicken bite. Our pork medallions with apple preserves. And our lobster ravioli.
Oh, Chef Andrew, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's gorgeous. I'm hoping that there's enough time here and my photographer doesn't have to leave too early so we get a chance to taste this. But as you can see, things on Main Street in Mount Sterling are a little different than they were 2 years ago, thanks to this redevelopment project. And the years ahead look like there are going to be some other developments as well here in Mount Sterling. With another Illinois story in Mount Sterling, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you. For a DVD copy of the program you've just seen, send 1995 to Network Knowledge, P.O. Box 6248, Springfield, Illinois 62708. Be sure to include the program name, subject, and when the program aired. You can also order with your credit card by calling 800-232-3605.